difference. He shot that from Nashville. And Curry, three! He's got 8 in the first half. He's unreal. He's got 12 threes. 52 tonight. Greatest shooter that's ever lived. What a game.
Never think it's going to be a 50 night. Just trying to win a big game and embracing the moment.
Well, he embraced the moment last night. Steph Curry, 52 points, 12 threes, plus he added 10 rebounds and 8 assists, and the Warriors are now the 5 seed in the West, sliding just ahead of the Grizzlies and Timberwolves. They'll be tested their next 3 games as they go on the road against the Lakers, then back home against the Nuggets and the Rockets. What a week we have for Golden State. And again, that game, Warriors-Lakers tomorrow night, is a tasty one as well. We're looking right now, if the season ended this minute, as you just saw, Warriors-Lakers would be a first-round matchup. And what are your thoughts? There's been... Whoa! Yeah, the face tells the story. I'm with you. What are you right now? Lakers, Warriors, they both make the big trades. They've both been so interesting since then. They're both sitting there out of the play-in situation right now. Which one of those teams you buy? I'm telling you right now, one of those teams making a deep run in the next couple of weeks. Which one are we buying?
I'm leaning Warriors because LeBron James is coming off of a hammy injury, and I am just a little bit concerned about the durability when you get to the pace of the postseason. The Warriors, to me, have managed to be a little bit healthier, and while they don't necessarily have reputable bigs, Post, Santos, Looney, like they've got guys that can patchwork it together. I just think they got a couple more bodies, and then the way Steph plays.
I would favor Golden State because the Luka thing becomes a real thing in that series alone.
That's a good one.
That becomes like a real thing, right? Because with the versatility,
what's the Luka thing?
You can't hide him. And the way he gets targeted and their continuity and how they move without the ball, that's an offense in which defensively Luka can get lost in.
So Shams, you said early in the show that clearly the addition of Jimmy Butler has made the Warriors a legitimate contender. The Monday after you broke that story and you destroyed the internet that night, most of the reaction here was the Lakers are still a move away. The Lakers still need a summer to add bigs and whatever it is they need to do. They've greatly overachieved, I think, relative to those expectations. So we consider the Warriors a legit contender this spring. Are the Lakers too?
They have to because you have LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves. I don't think they thought those 3 would click as quick as they have. And everyone made comments, and I think when you go out and get Mark Williams and then don't have Mark Williams on the roster, that's a blow to your front court. But Jackson Hayes has played at a really high level. And to me, that's the Luka Doncic effect. He's made Jackson Hayes shine, thrive, whatever word you want to use. But I do think front court is their one issue if you have to point at one. If you're the Lakers, you're trying to get maybe to that 3 spot. Hope you face Memphis at 6. I think that's the team that a lot of teams in the Western Conference.
Let me ask you this real quickly before we run the floor. If the Warriors play the Lakers, we could just settle it with a 3-point shooting contest between the coaches. Steve Kerr versus J.J. Redick. Who wins?
I take J.J.
I'm taking J.J. too. Shout out to our guy.
I mean, you got to go J.J. I saw some video of him shooting the other day, so I think he can. I
don't know. I covered Steve Kerr as a player. He could knock down the 3 too. We'll see.
Shooter, not a scorer.
Let's run the floor. We begin in New York. Jay Will, the Knickerbockers beat the Sixers last night without Karl Anthony Towns. OG Anunoby leading them with 27 points. What is the Knicks ceiling, assuming Jalen Brunson is back and healthy?
Eastern Conference semifinals. I mean, I'm not going to choose them over the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm definitely not going to choose them over the Boston Celtics.
We get it, Jay.
It's not personal. It's just objective.
I'm saying.
So, Shams,
you taking them over those 2 teams?
Carry on, Shams.
As said by the radio voice of the New York Knicks, our friend Monica McNutt. So, Shams, let me just introduce you to my life a little bit. When it's football season, I walk the streets here and people yell Jets things at me. Now people yell, are we going to get Giannis? Are we going to get KD? Do the Knicks... They traded all of their pieces. Yeah.
In the last 14, 15 months, the Knicks have traded for OG Anunoby,
right,
Mikal Bridges, and Karl Anthony Towns.
Now, we're not
satisfied. I don't know how many players they need. I don't know what's the
They need Giannis. What they need is Giannis.
They do have, listen, you have Karl Anthony Towns. He's got a massive contract. You have Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. So if you did want to go make a play for any type of star with a big money deal, you have the requisite contracts to do so, and you're not that tied in deep into the second apron, and it's preventing you from making a lot of heavy moves. But this is a wait-and-see team. You have to see how this team does in the playoffs. We haven't given them a full year. Mitchell Robinson just got back in the lineup recently. This is probably a team that needs some time here to really gel, need to get some pieces on the back end of this roster.
They need to get Jalen Brunson health. Most importantly, Monica, you're around that team every single day. I mean, what do they expect with regard to that?
Jalen Brunson spoke to the media a game ago, and he's optimistic about getting back on the floor before the end of the regular season. They understand that he's important, but it is weighing out this season versus a future if he is not whole.
All right, so we'll come back to that. I mean, the aforementioned Giannis.
You guys think at whole they can win the Eastern Conference?
No, probably not.
I don't.
No, I don't. I mean, I think most people think Boston.
Once again, Shams, do you think now? You know what? I'm going to ask myself a rhetorical question. No, I don't believe they can do it.
The regular season record versus top teams, Boston, Cleveland, and OKC, is a fact. And they are fully aware that they have to be prepared to put their best foot forward to challenge and address that fact. So the numbers say what it says.
So they play Cleveland tonight, by the way, so they'll get a shot at that. And as I've said repeatedly, what they need is Giannis, who scored 37 points to help the Bucks into a 10-point win over the Suns last night. However, he continues to still be missing his teammate Damian Lillard with a blood clot situation. Shams, what is the latest on Lillard?
Greeny, there is some good news here. I am told that Damian Lillard is making progress with that blood clot. He's had weekly doctor visits, and doctors are encouraged by it. They see his blood clot actually decreasing right now. So it's lowering. He's getting to the point where he's doing some light workouts. They're hopeful he's going to be cleared in the next week or so for some type of on-court activity.
So while that remains to be seen, Jay, well, let's live in a world where Jalen Brunson is playing and is generally healthy. Dame Lillard is playing and is generally healthy. That shapes up to be a first-round matchup right now. 3-6, Knicks, Bucks. Who do you like?
I would probably take the Knicks in that series just because of him not playing. Even with Jalen Brunson not playing, I like the continuity the Knicks have more so than Milwaukee. I think they can wall up against a guy like
There's going to be, if the Bucks get knocked out in the first round.
There is a lot of pressure in Milwaukee right now in terms of they've lost in the first round, two, three times in the last several years. I know there's been a lot of injury there, but year after year, when you think about John Horst, Doc Rivers, there's a lot of pressure in that organization.
Yeah, I mean, and Giannis, right? Giannis has been on record saying that he wants to have opportunities to win at a high level. And while he is still dominant and probably still in folks' MVP votes and the poll, I do wonder about the longevity of the style that he plays. It is so powerful. It is so pounding. And he's getting a little older.
So could we be living in a world where Giannis wants out of Milwaukee this summer?
Greeny, he has said on the record, like Monica just said, if he doesn't feel like the organization he's on is willing and really going to pursue an NBA championship, he's always going to keep an open mind to look elsewhere. My understanding is going to the summer, he's looking at long-term sustained winning. Is that going to be in Milwaukee? Is that going to be elsewhere? We'll see. All
right. And then, of course, we talked about the Suns briefly and Kevin Durant briefly. He's still out with the ankle injury that he suffered against the Rockets. What is the sense on KD? He had the opportunity perhaps to move teams at the trade deadline. Didn't seem to have a lot of interest in that. There he is down with the injury there. What is your sense on KD?
So in the short term, he's going to be out at least the rest of this week. We'll see if he's going to make it back. That's a nasty ankle sprain. He's been dealing with ankle injuries. He's had a shoulder issue this year, a thumb issue, from my understanding. That's the short term. The long term of it all is Matt Ishbia, the Suns owner. He's been very aggressive, and he's clearly shown an ownership quality where he's going to take a million swings. And his biggest swing was getting Kevin Durant. This iteration of the team just has not worked. My understanding is unless there's a miracle run, there's going to be some legitimate changes coming to Phoenix as a whole. They're going to do a full evaluation. From a roster perspective, though, Greeny, that's going to start with Kevin Durant and the teams that he's going to have a wide market. And a lot of it is going to depend on how the playoffs go. Which teams get eliminated early? Who feels after their playoff, however their run is, first round, second round, conference finals, who feels they're Kevin Durant away from winning a championship? That's really the story behind these playoffs, beyond just what's going on in the court.
I think a team like Houston can definitely use somebody like him as a mercenary, considering the pieces that they have. But if you're, Matt and Justin Ishbia, you can't move Bradley Beal. Devin Booker hasn't had the year that you expected him to have. I actually think he's out of position. So your best tradable asset is Kevin Durant.
I agree with you on Houston. Other sneaky contender in my mind is Minnesota. I mean, the relationship between Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, I don't know what they will be willing to move or what's in the chest if you're Minnesota, but you look at a guy that will keep your offense humming at all times and is going to compete at a high level with that group.
And can play off Ant. Right?
There's no way. So what you're saying, to sort of put a ribbon on the conversation, is this is TBA. This will be determined in large part by what happens in May of this year.
1,000%. When you look back at the NBA trade deadline, there was mutual interest with Kevin Durant. Once Kevin Durant knew he was potentially on the trade market, obviously the Warriors were a no at the deadline. They're going to be a no if ever.
So no to Golden State?
No. And oh no, Greeny, that is not something to look at. But the teams with mutual interest, Minnesota, Houston, San Antonio, Miami, New York, my understanding, that's where the mutual interest was in February. That's where I expected to be again in the offseason. But it all comes down to how these teams fare in the playoffs, what ends up happening. One thing, unlike it at the deadline, the Suns and Kevin Durant, they're going to work together on finding his next home. He has 1 year left on his contract after this year. That does give him some level of flexibility.
It's going to be a very interesting